even if the Bruins don't make the playoffs, which they probably won't, David Pastrnak deserves a ton of looks for MVP. I mean, honestly, at this point, he could well win it. But yet he's not being talked about in the odds or the MVP races or the top fives or NHL Network or TNT. None of them are talking about David Pastrnak for this. And if the Bruins were the 8th seed in the Eastern Conference, he deserves to win it. And it's wild that he doesn't get any kind of consideration. And he's been underrated, I think, the last couple of years. I mean, he's amongst the elite. In the last 3 seasons, nobody scored more goals than David Pastrnak. I know he's not Connor McDavid. I know he's not Nathan McKinnon or Leon Draisaitl, Cale Makar. Those all come from 2 teams, by the way. But he is amongst that top tier. And the things that he's doing with this Bruins team is incredible. The fact that they do still have a shot to make the playoffs with practically an AHL roster around him. They would be picking in the top 3 if he was not on this team. And I think that value part deserves some recognition, because I was fascinated, or I'm fascinated to look at these lists. And again, it's Draisaitl and it's Hellebuck for, maybe a goalie winning it. And Quinn Hughes is still getting some respect because Vancouver's barely in the playoff picture. And I'm like, where is the David Pastrnak here? Like, the Bruins are not a good team, but everyone knows about them because they're the Bruins. And they know, anyone who follows the sport knows that to have 34 goals and 82 points in 67 games on this team is miraculous. Absolutely miraculous. And they flashed this stat. I'm going to apologize for the quality of it. They flashed this stat on the NESN broadcast last night, and it's truly incredible. Look at who he's playing with, and look at what they've done since January 1st. That's a terrific sample size. He's turned Morgan Geekie into a guy that they couldn't dump at the trade deadline. They need him to be part of their future. He's got 22 goals on the season. Pavel Zacha is not even a center. And look at this. 18 assists in 27 games because of that guy. 11 power play points, 20 goals, 44 points in 27 games since January 1st, in which the Bruins have dropped from the last playoff spot to about 3 teams out of it in the playoff race. That is incredible. And he won't ever get the respect he probably deserves because he doesn't play a full 200-foot game. He's not a star that can play on the penalty kill as well, the way you kind of sneak McDavid out there sometimes on the penalty kill just because he's that skilled. But David Pastrnak deserves some damn respect around this league. And I'm saying it. I'm calling the shot. Even if the Bruins don't make the playoffs, he should still get some serious consideration for the Hart Trophy. And by that, I mean top 3. All the talks about this this MVP race is that nobody's running away with it. Draisaitl's leading the league and all the points and the goals. And so that's probably why he's going to win his second MVP. And I'm not saying Draisaitl's a bum or anything, but when your second option is a goalie, that means the MVP race is wide open. And in fact, I've seen a couple top 5 lists that have 2 goalies in there. Dustin Wolf, who's almost willing the Calgary Flames to the playoffs, has also been considered in that MVP race. And so again, when you're throwing a couple of goaltenders in there, to me, that means it's wide open. And to take it a step further, you look at the Western Conference, Calgary is barely in a playoff spot. They're even on points for the second wild card with Vancouver, but they have a game in hand. That's why they're in a playoff spot right now. So how can Dustin Wolf be in the top 5 as a goalie that's, Calgary might make the playoffs? And here are the Bruins, who are only 2 points out, and they have a guy who's on a point a game pace with a bunch of AHL guys. Like, can we take that into consideration a little bit, please? They're 2 points out of a playoff spot, and they've got a guy who's playing on the same line, on a line with Pavel Zacha and Morgan Geekie. And he's killing it. He's going to score 40 goals again. Imagine what this guy could do with a playmaker on his line. He might score 60 like he did 2 years ago and finished, I think, second in the MVP. Like, we're talking most valuable player. There isn't a team in this league that is this close to a playoff spot that if you took one player out, they'd be picking in the top 3 of the draft. Nobody. The only one that's close is Zach Werenski with Columbus, who probably deserves more credit than he's been getting to. But David Pastrnak is doing something miraculous in front of our eyes. And it won't get remembered because this team sucks and they're not going to make the playoffs and they're going to be rebuilding. And so the biggest tragedy of all of this is not that David Pastrnak is not going to win the MVP this year. The biggest tragedy of all of it is he's going to turn 29 in May. He's still in his prime right now. And the way that Don Sweeney has handled this roster means that they are going to waste David Pasternak's prime. Waste it. Piss it away by rebuilding. Now, you could also argue that the kid got plenty of great shots, early on in his career. He made a cup final. He just turned 23. But they are going to waste away his prime. And I have a sneaky feeling that I'm going to be having a segment like this the next 2 to 3 years, right? Of like, fuck, man, the Bruins are not good enough for him to win MVP, but he should win MVP. Be the first Bruins MVP in 50 years. Like, he deserves to win it, man. If we're talking value, like, there is nobody with more value to their team right now that's putting up these kind of numbers than David Pastrnak. Like, there's just not, man. And I'm looking at the odds of who's going to win this thing on FanDuel. It's Leon Draisaitl, Connor Hellebuck, Nathan MacKinnon, Nikita Kucherov, Connor McDavid, and Cale Makar. And when you talk about value, again, Leon Draisaitl plays with the best player on the planet. Plays a lot of power play time with him, Connor McDavid. Nathan MacKinnon, he's got Cale Makar on his team. You have Mikko Rantanen on his team for half the year. And same thing. Cale Makar's got Nathan MacKinnon. Connor McDavid's got Leon Draisaitl. Nikita Kucherov's got a damn good team around him now. And like, I don't want that to necessarily kill these guys' MVP chances because they're that good. But when we're talking value, put their line mates and their teammates up against what David Pastrnak is playing with, the Providence Bruins. And to me, I think that deserves to carry a ton of weight. And I think this season in particular is why David Pastrnak is going to be the next captain of the Boston Bruins. Initially, I would have thought Charlie McAvoy, but I think it's David Pastrnak. Because you know what? He keeps his mouth shut, and he's leading by example on the ice right now. I mean, shit, he scored a goal that was assisted by Johnny Beecher, who is genuinely the worst player on the planet. So, the guy is working miracles with this team. And he is the reason they're anywhere close to a postseason spot. The rest of the line stink. There's no secondary scoring. Their goaltender has not been good. Their decor is banged up and not very great either. Their coach doesn't have any style, any kind of structure. David Pastrnak, in a very much a team game, he is the sole reason the Bruins are even close to a playoff spot. And for someone who's watched him night in, night out, seen how bad this team is and how much he elevates them, to me, I think David Pastrnak should not just be in the consideration for the Hart Trophy. I think David Pastrnak should win the Hart Trophy. I think he is the most valuable player in the National Hockey League this year. I don't think the voters will agree with me, unfortunately. Do you agree with me? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Seriously, let me know why or why not David Pastrnak for Hart Trophy for the NHL MVP. Let me know. Be sure to like and subscribe. Helps out the channel a ton. We are growing. We are setting new goals for subscriber count. We're trying to get to 3,500 by the end of the month. It's going to take a lot of work, but we need your help. Subscribe to the channel. We are live here every weekday, high noon Eastern time on YouTube, with segments going out on YouTube as well, and then wherever you get your podcasts.